Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to bring you an update on VeChain. I see a few very interesting things happening in the technicals. We're at a very critical place because we're testing support right now. So in this video, I'm going to run through some technical analysis, talk about what I see happening short-term and long-term. So if you like the sound of that, please like, subscribe, comment, and share, and hit that bell icon notified notifications because it really helps us out. We appreciate it, and you get to stay up to date with critical, time-sensitive technical analysis all throughout this bull run. So let's delve into this, folks. A few interesting things to note right off the bat. VeChain is finding support exactly where we've been predicting and where we've been talking about for days, if not weeks at this point. So the very interesting thing is we're kind of in this broadening channel here. And so we're testing support right now. Do we hold support? That is the question. If we can hold support here, this is potentially a very good place to accumulate VeChain, in my opinion, if we assume that in the long term VeChain is likely to break out. Now, a few things here. We keep testing support, and we know that whenever we test a support or resistance line, the more times we test it, the more likely we are to break down. And if we take a look at our indicators here, we're starting to see some bearish signs. If we look at the 4 hour here, MACD histogram taken down, weighted MACD bearish crossover, stochastic bearish crossover, although it had a bearish crossover on the stochastic previous. And whenever we see this where we have a bearish crossover and we're supposed to go for that leg down and we don't, that's typically a bullish indicator. It's kind of telling us price doesn't want to go that way. And I mean, we're seeing long wicks to the downside, but we're seeing long wicks to the upside as well. So 4 hour looks bearish. Let's take a look at the 2 hour. 2 hour, kind of the same situation. So we're seeing the hourly charts look bearish, not good. We could see bearish continuation with VeChain for sure. Now, if we start to zoom into like the shorter time frames, the small time frames, we're starting to see signs that we could potentially be bottomed out. MACD in the half an hour on the 30-minute chart, taking up. Bullish crossover on the weighted MACD. Have we had one quite yet? Anyways, if we don't, we're likely to have one soon. And the stochastic bullish crossover. So the 30-minute is a smaller time frame, folks. This is not a guarantee that we are bottomed out here. The larger time frames do look, the hourly time frames do look bearish, but we're starting to see some signs that this could potentially be the bottom. So the approach I would take for VeChain right now, because VeChain is a long-term hold in my opinion. I'll talk about the long-term outlook and the prospects in a minute here, but just to wrap up with the short term here. VeChain is a long-term investment for me. So I would honestly, what I would do is I would start to dollar cost average, meaning buy a little bit now, and if indeed we do break down, this region right here is where I would want to buy some more VeChain myself personally for a few reasons. We see volume. Let's see if I can get this chart to cooperate with me. So this is the volume here, the visible range. This is where we can see volume start to pick up, and it's not cooperating with me too much right now. But point being, the 200 EMA on the 6 hour is right approaching my box here. My box basically being from 2.5 cents to 2.4 cents. If we fall down there with VeChain, that's where I would be looking to accumulate VeChain personally. We'd also see kind of price reactive with these wicks and kind of some sideways price action within these regions. So this is where I would be looking to accumulate VeChain personally as well. So I do think that the 200 EMA on the 6 hour is the most critical EMA we need to hold in order to remain short-term bullish, because we could actually break down from this broadening wedge, fall down to the 200 EMA on the 6 hour, and still remain bullish and go for another leg up. Because as we can see here from before, last time we pumped and had a major correction, we found support on the 200 EMA. So there's a chance that we could break down from this pattern, but still find support there. So that's where I would be looking to accumulate personally, kind of at the 2.4 to 2.5 cents as well. The 200 EMA on the 4 hour. The 200 EMA on the 4 hour is the EMA that most closely hugs the lower extremities of this broadening channel. So if we start to break down and close below this EMA on the 4 hour, that's very bad news bears. That's very no bueno. We could see bearish continuation. So we ultimately need to see if VeChain can continue to maintain support in these regions. If it can, and if we can see the 30-minute carry over to the 45 over to the hourly over to the larger time frames, then I think it's just a matter of time before we test recent all-time highs here. And if we just look at price action alone, really we could interpret this as a very macro ascending triangle as well. And so we could say that, let's say we do remain in support. We have max 12 days of movement within this thing before we break out. So VeChain is going to have a big movement within the next week or so here, within the next 12 days. Whatever we break out of this apex, we're likely to trend in that direction for quite some time. So be aware of fake outs, folks. Those 200 EMAs on the 6 and 4 are the most critical support levels. If we start to break below that, it's very bad news bears, very no bueno in the short term. Now, the long-term outlook for VeChain, I do think looks very positive. For those who don't know, VeChain aims to improve supply chains and logistics through tracking on the blockchain. It already has a lot of large partnerships, BMW, Walmart China, a bunch of partnerships. It's getting new partnerships all the time, and it's by far its leader in its niche. So for that reason, I think VeChain is a cryptocurrency that has a high likelihood of benefiting greatly from this cryptocurrency bull run that we're in. I think the bull run is likely to end around the end of 2021. Bitcoin likely peaking out sometime September, October this year. VeChain and the alts roughly peaking out a month after Bitcoin, roughly. So I think this is still super early stages for VeChain, folks, in my opinion. If we break out bearishly, we could continue to consolidate for quite some time. Now, if we break out bullishly, hold on here. Actually, I'll give more of my kind of worst case scenario for VeChain. I think kind of worst case scenario, we find support at kind of 2.1 cents to 2 cents. Volume starting to pick up in those regions, and it was very price reactive as we can see from these areas below. So that's kind of like worst case scenario. I think most likely there's a chance that we test this purple box from kind of 2.5 to 2.4, but there's even a chance that we don't break down from this green line, folks. I just want to give you guys that possibility. The lower time frames, like the half hour, 15, we're looking bullish, so there's a potential that we could be bottomed out here. But ultimately, we're near an apex. We need to see what way we break out to understand macro direction more clearly. Assuming we break out bearishly, those are my price targets. Assuming we break out bullishly, let's take the optimistic case for VeChain here. Could we reach, let's say, 5 cents in the mid to long term here? I think something like that is definitely possible. But in order for something like that to happen, a few things need to happen. There's a few contingencies that we need to keep in mind. Bitcoin and Ethereum need to keep it together. If they either decide to skyrocket and pump massively, or they decide to dump massively all at once very quickly, that's definitely going to have an effect on the altcoins such as VeChain. So we need to keep our eye out for Bitcoin dominance, folks. Bitcoin dominance being the total value of Bitcoin in comparison to the total value of all cryptocurrencies. So whenever it falls, alts typically benefit. Whenever it rises, alts typically suffer. So keeping an eye out for this is an important thing to understand in order to try and gauge what the altcoins are likely to do, as well the dollar index. Folks, the dollar index has a direct effect on crypto and other currencies. Whenever it rises, other currencies suffer. Whenever it falls, other currencies benefit. It's currently, very importantly, range bound. So whatever way we break out of the 50 EMA acting as resistance on the daily, 20 EMA acting as support on the daily, whatever way we break out, likely to have an effect on crypto and the alts. So guys, these are some of the important things we need to keep in mind as well. Ethereum and Bitcoin, they lead the market. Whatever they do is going to have an effect on VeChain. Long term, I think kind of very conservatively, in my opinion, I think VeChain could reach 20 cents. Maybe a little bit more optimistically, I think 50 cents to $1 at the peak of this bull run makes sense, in my opinion. Guys, I don't know that for sure. That's just a guesstimate for fun. Just take that for fun, because there's price predictions. People can extrapolate based off market cap, the previous cycles, but ultimately nobody really knows for sure if and when. Nobody knows for sure when these altcoins are going to peak out, and nobody knows for sure, including myself, how high these coins are going to go. But I do think it's probable that this bull run ends 2021. The alts and VeChain peak out sometime October, November, and VeChain, in my opinion, has a good chance of reaching 50 cents to $1. 20 cents is like kind of the most conservative price prediction, in my opinion, at the peak of this bull run. So guys, those are my thoughts. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. Check out our Discord. There's some interesting, important resources if you guys want to learn some technical analysis and just some really just generally important stuff, some indicators that I think are really helpful. So make sure you check out our Discord. We talk crypto there all the time, all our setups, all that good stuff. Yeah, check that out, guys. Don't forget to stay tuned. Take care.